Joining us now for a review of some headlines of today's newspaper from around the world is Arise News analyst, the great Malabite himself, Emmanuel Efeni, greatest of the greatest of the greatest Baba. Malabites.
Good morning, Rufai.
Brother, sir.
Good morning, Ayo, Myro, Essie.
A simple good morning from you because Rufai has done the hailings for two people. Good morning,
yes. Let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Tinubu subsidy is gone, can no longer justify ever-increasing costs. Funds to be rechanneled into better investment in public infrastructure, education, healthcare, jobs. To review Naira redesign policy, challenge Apex Bank on uniform exchange rate. Vows to unite Nigeria, says he will be president for all. Security will be accorded priority, new president declares. Now, the president yesterday, with that inaugural speech, struck a number of notes. Some will say all the right notes, but others will disagree. But, of course, the headline are there, the issue of subsidy. And he put it pointedly and blankly. Subsidy is gone. And some will just add, gone for good. We hope so. But, of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated courage, political will from day one to do the needful. Of course, we know how President Muhammadu Buhari kicked the can down the road, even in the face of all admission that subsidizing petroleum products is not sustainable, even in the face of humongous amount of money being spent to achieve this. But carefully, he kicked the can down the road and it arrived at the doorsteps of the new president, who wasted no time in taking a position. So that in itself is commendable courage, political will from day one. But some have also questioned the timing, whether it is something to be done on inauguration day. But the deed has been done, and the fallouts we await. Of course, the response at the filling stations, that many filling stations immediately shut their doors, aka hoarding. But again, this started even a day before the inauguration. Of course, many were anticipating what was going to happen after the inauguration. Both marketers and buyers. Panic buying was also part of the problem. Even those who had full tanks had to look for jerry cans to buy and store. But again, the deployment of these resources. But there were other things, so many things the president said yesterday. Of course, the other hot spot was the convergence of the Naira at the parallel and official exchange market. Now, how is that going to be achieved? Is the Naira going to be floated so that it will find its level? Left to be seen how this will be achieved, as it were. But the president also promised 1 million jobs from the digital economy. No time frame put to that. How that will be achieved immediately? Is that for 1 million jobs from the digital economy for the next 4 years, 1 year, 2 years? Not clearly stated. Of course, it's also been reported presidents of Liberia, South Africa, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Rwanda, Niger, Chad, they were all in attendance. US, China were represented. UK, US, Saudi Arabia, others hold bilateral meetings with Tinubu Gbajabiamila. Nigeria will witness renewed hope with ex-Lagos Governor Yuriwa kicks against unilateral petrol subsidy removal. Tinubu's speech didn't inspire hope, says Labour Party. Yes, talking about unilaterally removing the subsidy, I don't know how many people the president will consult before taking a decision. If he were to consult everybody, every stakeholder before taking a decision, then at the end of the day, no decision may be taken on that, as we saw in the last administration, where the president was saying, President Muhammadu Buhari, that, oh, he doesn't want people to go into the street if you remove it. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said during the campaign, no matter how you go onto the street, I will remove subsidy. And he has made that pronouncement. So, courage, putting your mouth where you made promises. And he made promises, and he had made pronouncements to give action to the promise on removal of fuel subsidy. How we deal with the fallout? Of course, that in itself is a challenge, because there will be inflation as a result of the increase in transportation, road transportation for that. Goods across the country will go up as a result of the increase in fuel price. Yes, one newspaper is already reporting that petroleum products being sold at 350 naira in a number of filling stations. But if you ask what people pay in the hinterland, outside the major cities, they've been paying close to that over time. That was why many were saying that, yes, this subsidy thing is the big men who enjoy it. Come to Ikoyi, big men filling all their jeeps, huge jeeps with cheap petroleum products. But now, we need to see what is going to happen. This total deregulation. Will NNPC still be the one importing petroleum products? Of course, in the face of removal of subsidy, yes, NNPC can import petroleum products. No, produce, because we have refineries. Yes, we are waiting for the Dangote refinery, which will start producing. Its product will hit the market by July. So says the Aliko Dangote, the president of the Dangote organization. Now, will the refineries, the 4 refineries, what will be their fate? Will the president continue putting millions of dollars into the repair through the NNPC? Or will those refineries be privatized at the end of the day, so that perhaps they will be like the Dangote refinery? Don't forget that then President Olusegun Obasanjo actually privatized those refineries, selling them to the same Aliko Dangote who has become the savior of the petroleum products production in Nigeria. But then the Yaradua administration came and reversed that. Now we know better. Those refineries have been comatose for many years. Will that change under the Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidency? We'll see. Now, other newspapers reporting the inauguration. Of course, removal of subsidy on petroleum products, of course, grabbing the headlines all the way. The Guardian newspaper, scarcity trade subsidy removal as Tinubu begins house cleaning. Yes, that's the way they put it. Tinubu's house cleaning agenda. Yes, you can see the illustration there in the front page of this day. Subsidy removal is part of is top on the list, of course. Higher GDP growth and job creation. He said 6% GDP. Is that the yearly growth or what he intends to achieve in 6 years? Well, I'm sure his handlers and we put details to that once he picks his economic team. Now, the food security. Yes, the president promised to create agri-hub in various parts of the country with a view to make food more abundant and more affordable. Yes, a huge task, but we know that food security has been threatened by insecurity in many parts of the country, where farmers cannot go to their farms. When they have to go to their farms, they have to pay bandits to even harvest their crops. Sometimes they're even kidnapped and have to pay to free workers who are working in this farm. So, creating food hubs, but of course, security is peak of the pack, because without security, the investors the president has promised to woo and come to Nigeria with policies will find it also difficult to operate in many parts of the country. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, fuel subsidy is gone. Daily Trust, Tinubu, that's what the Daily Trust is reporting. Pledges Naira redesign review, higher growth rate. Once interest rate reduced, I'll work with you, Biden assures president. Now, talking about the Naira redesign, I'm sure Nigerians are waiting to hear the direction, because for some time now, even the new Naira, I have not cited it anywhere. I used to be one of those canvassing that it was available because I was able to get it from my bank. But today, I hardly see it anywhere, even among where people spend cash. It's the old Naira we are now using. So what will happen? Are we going to phase out the old notes? Or just go back to the old notes and forget about the new ones? I'm sure in the days ahead, we'll hear the policy of the government, of course, working with the central bank. But, of course, the president, the buck stops at his table, and he would have the last say on that matter. Now, front page of the Daily Trust, of course, inauguration in states. Tambuwa shuns inauguration as APC's Aliyu takes over Sokoto. Yes, Aliyah freezes Benue account. Yes, the reverend gentleman who is now turned politician, who is now governor of Benue State. He has freezed all Benue's account for starters, and I'm sure he wants to see what the books look like after 8 years of Samuel Otom as governor. I will sustain peace, resettle more IDPs. Zulum will improve lives of banditry victims, fight ghost workers. Katsina governor is assuring his people. Gombe governor pledges to clear backlog of gratuity. Yes, those pension workers who retired, who are waiting for their gratuity, yes, he said he will deal with that. Of course, that will also be a way of encouraging and boosting the morale of those who are in service, that when they retire, of course, they will not be forgotten. Plateau has a debt burden of 200 billion naira, Governor Mufwang. And Abba Gida issues executive order to probe Ganduje. Yes, Kano State is a place to watch. Kwankwansia movement now in charge. And of course, the rift between Kwankwanso and that is Rabiu Kwankwanso, the presidential candidate and the leader of the NNPP, and the outgone governor, Ganduje. Well, I hope that will not even scuttle the affairs of state. Will this governor, the new governor, Abba Gida, be his own man, or he will be taking instruction from a godfather? Now, Kefa's Cross River governor reads riot act to criminals. Yes, the governor of Cross River State also saying that the issues of Bakassi, the oil wells they lost, will be revisited. I'm sure being in the same party with the government at the center may just ease things, and another look will be taken on some of those issues. Now, if we just look at the Daily Sun newspaper, of course, Tinubu steps in, unveils agenda. But below The photograph, subsidy removal, marketers suspend sales after Tinubu's address. Queues build up at filling stations. While the Daily Independent reporting that newspaper, that story, fuel removal subsidies. Removed fuel subsidies. Tinubu to rechannel funds into education, healthcare, others. If we just look at the foreign newspapers quickly, the Times of London, legal wrangles looms over Johnson's WhatsApp chats. Yes, deadlock. Government defies order to provide uneducated messages to COVID inquiry. Yes.
Okay. But Mr. Finney, I'd like to say a very big thank you to you, but we do not have enough time to comment. I'd love to comment on most of the stories you read there.